Hey, my friends, we're back for another Shelly Loves to Paint, and we are deep into the Halloween season. I love this time of year, and one of my favorite holidays is Halloween. So we're going to just do our iconic jack-o'-lantern tonight, but we're going to do it with a little bit of a modern twist, okay? It's a little more contemporary look, little abstract even, with some of our strokes. So not your standard traditional one-stroke painting, and I'm excited to get going in this because it's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get started. So the background is the first thing I want to put in, and remember, this is my pattern. I sketched this out by hand. I did provide the pattern. It is pinned to the top of the comments in the comments section here for this video. So there's a link there. You can go see that and download the pattern. It fits on an 8x10 wrapped canvas. So you can download that, print it on a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and then transfer that onto this 8x10 canvas horizontally, and you'll be good to go. Okay. Just also remember that the complete supply list is always in the video description. So if you scroll down past the video that you're watching right now, down below it, you will see a description. You can click see more, and you will see everything down there that includes all the paint colors, as well as the brush sizes and any other supplies that are being used. Okay. And that's with every video that I put out. All right, so I have an array of fall colors here. We're using Plaid FolkArt multi-surface paint. This is a matte acrylic paint, or excuse me, a satin acrylic paint. And that is all the colors that we're using today are the satin acrylic variety. Okay, so just letting you know that. I'm using Donna Dewberry one-stroke paint brushes, and this is a 3/4 inch flat. I'm getting that damp, laying it on paper towel, and we're just kind of going to brush stroke in our background tonight. Okay, so first thing I want to do is tell you a little bit about the colors. Just go around the color wheel here real quick. I'm going to be using, this is sunflower. If you don't have sunflower, pale yellow will also work, just any pale color yellow. If you don't have either one of those, you can take daffodil yellow and add white to it until you get the color tone down to a very pale yellow. Okay. We have daffodil yellow, lots of yellows, moon yellow, we have linen, yellow ochre, a little bit of licorice, burnt umber, Pueblo, pure orange. We're going to be blending a little bit of apple red in with that pure orange to get just a brighter orange color. And then we have floating medium right here in the middle when we need it. All right, when we feel like we need water, we use floating medium. Okay, so my brush is dampened. This is a 3/4 inch flat. I'm going to pick up some of this sunflower. All right, and I'm going to go ahead, let's grab quite a bit of it, and we're going to go ahead in our background here. Let's just go around our pumpkin, around our candle, right, just to kind of get that based into the background. And I'm putting it on kind of heavy and leaving the brush marks. So let some of it kind of have texture to it even. All right. And we're going to come right in here under our stem, going around the edge of our pumpkin. All right. And I'm going to go right through, oops, not like that. So with a graphite pencil, a lot of times the moisture in paint will cause that graphite to spread. So let's not go around through that candle's flame there. We'll just go ahead and go around it because I don't want gray in this just yet. I want to control that. Okay, so down to the tabletop, grab a bunch more of that. I'm leaving some white space in there right now. All right, we're going to come through here. And up here, actually, I don't mind if I have a little bit of gray. I just didn't want it around the wick of my candle. Okay, now that's about all that yellow daffodil, or excuse me, not daffodil, pale yellow or sunflower that I want to put on. And don't forget, while you're doing this, if you're on a wrap canvas, if you don't intend on framing it, you want to go ahead and add that color to the edges so that when you put it on the wall, it will be finished on the edges too. Okay. All right. And let's get right in here. We're going to do darker in there anyways, but I just didn't want to miss that. There we go. Okay, now with this color still in my brush, I'm going to go ahead and let's grab some yellow ochre. All right, and we'll start working that in some of the open areas and let it blend a little bit. So we'll go around the edges here. Yellow ochre. Very loose with this, guys. So if you're not used to that, you just kind of talk to yourself and say it doesn't have to be perfect. As you're putting this on, it takes a little concentration to not be perfect. At least it does for me. I always want to do perfect strokes, or at least that's what I'm told. All right, up under here, put a little of that so it gets a little dark under there, like it's casting a bit of a shadow against the wall. We'll do more in just a second. Let's just get this yellow ochre on here. There. I'm going to slap that down here a little bit more. Come up here on the edge. See, now if I'm not looking, I don't get it all. Grab a little more of that sunflower. Okay. I'm going to just go ahead and finish these edges so I don't have to worry about them. There we go. All right, now, so we've got that yellow ochre in there in some spots. And let's just a little bit more. Let's come down the edge of this candle right here, down the edge of this candle right here. Tuck that in right there, right in here. Come under this. And if you can't get in with this big of a brush, because that's just my biggest brush, right, the 3/4 flat, if you don't feel like you can tuck in there, then swap down to a smaller size. Okay, so lots of loose right there, right? Now I'm going to take some linen right in here. And then with the linen, I'm going to get just a tiny bit, tiny bit, see, of black. And see right away that is strong. So work linen in with that. All right, and we're going to come right up here, go around our branch. And put some of this dark up in the corner. Get a little more linen with that. Not getting any more of that black. That's really strong. And then let's grab some more of this sunflower. A little more of the yellow ochre. And kind of work that with this darker stuff that we just put on here to make it look more like part of the wall. So more linen. I'm checking now to make sure I don't have any blank spots. We'll put a little of this dark up here. Grab some more of this sunflower. A little more of the yellow ochre. There. Now, I'm going to grab a little of the sunflower here, pull that out. Okay. So just a loose kind of tonal background that will go with our design. Okay. And just play with it till you're happy with it. Okay. But again, you know, try and be loose and then let it go. Okay. I'm going to call that good. All right. So now I'm just going to kind of clean some of that out of my brush, and I want to come down and address the rest of this, which would be the table. So we're going to get some burnt umber here on our brush. And first, we're going to base in the table. All right, so around the dripping wax, get the edge. Back in here. A little bit of medium to help that move. Work that in, and we're going to come underneath our pumpkin here. Okay. Now, once I get this all based in, I'm going to take that same brush and we're going to add some black. We're going to side load a little bit of black. So let me just finish this front edge here. There we go. Okay. So now with that same brush, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to side stroke and blend in. Keep blending, blending until that's blended really well in with that brown. And I want brown in there with it, right? So I'm not trying to get all black. I want a dark, dark brown just on the edge of that brush, okay? And so what we're going to do with that is we're going to come right along the back edge here with the flat of the brush and underneath. You can do this before or after. I'm choosing to do it before. Underneath the pumpkin, at least as a start. Right under there. Under the wax. Along the back of the wall here. Okay, so it's just getting that dark in there, because then what we're going to do is when we start creating the face of our jack-o'-lantern and we have it reflecting on the table, and that reflection, you can just kind of slip slap some of those colors on top of it. So you want that kind of shading already in there. Okay, so hopefully you can see that is just a little bit darker than the rest of the table. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and clean that brush again, and then we can start working on our pumpkin and candles. So this is going to be fun. All right, so let's bring this down. So our pumpkin base color is going to be Pueblo. Yeah, I'm going to continue with the 3/4 flat. So we're going to get Pueblo on this brush. And then I'm going to come and get some linen, right? And kind of work that into the Pueblo on my brush. I'm going to tone it down just a little bit. And I'm really only working it into about, 2/3 of the brush. So I'm letting, if I were to flip it over, I could come and side stroke strong Pueblo right there, and the rest would have linen blended into it. See that? Okay. So what we're going to do is, let's come down closer. There we go. So I'm keeping that light edge to the outside. Flip it over. We're going to come in here behind our stem. Get a little more of that. And let's come up down here now. So see that lighter edge is to the outside and the darker is in the groove of the section. All right, so linen with the Pueblo. And you just picked up a little orange there, but that's fine. Let's get a little more of that linen. And I'm going to come down this way. Right into this candle here. So picking up heavy linen and then keeping the Pueblo edge to the segment. Coming around my mouth. All right. So can you see all that linen that's in there? So it's muting the orangeness of our pumpkin. All right, and then we'll do this one. I'm going to side stroke a little more linen here. Now you can go right over the mouth and the eyes and stuff, but I'm trying to avoid them because I don't want that gray spread in there. If you did transfer paper from the pattern, you wouldn't get that. But because I penciled it on here, my pencil markings are getting liquefied by the water in the paint. Okay. All right, so here, let's just come around. So we're kind of keeping the light edge to the edge of our face, right? And we'll come through here. Getting that Pueblo, and then I'm side stroking some stronger linen. We're going to come right up into this tooth here. And then I'm keeping the dark color to the bottom here. There. Now we just have this one section left, and what I want to do here is we're going to keep this kind of dark, and I'm going to grab just a little bit of burnt umber on that Pueblo edge. We're going to come right to here, come right through there, around the eye and the nose, and then you can just kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, and I'm not worrying too much about my brush marks, which is unusual for me because usually I'm telling you to smooth them out. But in this case, we're going for a little more of an abstract look, a little less refined, a little less perfect. All right, so can you see all that brown in there, and that is darkening some of that? So what I want to do now is let's just come right through. So I grab more of that burnt umber, and we're going to come right through here, and just kind of streak it down, pull it up. All right, so we're streaking dark. And leaving some of that orange showing. So see that fun detail right there? So chisel edge, bring it around, and then pull it down. Here, chisel edge, pull it down a little more. We'll come along the bottom here, and we'll pull it up. And here, pull it up. Along this edge. And then I have it on the flat of the brush right there, see? So I'm just going to kind of sweep that up. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clean that brush now, and we're going to work with smaller brushes now. So I'm going to grab, this is a 10 flat, right? And we're going to come get some yellow ochre. And let's get a little bit of that sunflower. And we're just going to kind of add it here and there. Sunflower, a little bit of yellow ochre. Right, so I'm just dabbing it really over the surface of our pumpkin. You can grab even some of the Pueblo, stronger Pueblo. And we're just adding some fun marks to the face of this pumpkin. You do however you like. You want it dark, make it dark. You want it light. Get some linen. And the only thing I'm really focusing on as I'm doing this, besides just having fun with the colors, is following the curves of the segments. All right, so just keeping that in mind as you're going through this. Just kind of lay the color off the brush. And then let's get a little bit of black. Just side load a little bit of that licorice. All right, and we can come right down this here. Let's come under our teeth. A little more. Okay, so you're starting to add a little character to, along with the abstract look of this, all right? And all of that brown, burnt umber. You can pull some dark streaks from the stem area into the segments. Again, just watching the curvature, right, of the pumpkin, of each of those segments. Let's get a little more of that black licorice come through here. And we're going to darken the bottom of the segments. Okay. A little more brown. Pueblo. a little bit of yellow ochre in here. So just have fun. I'm going to grab just a little of this pure orange now. And because this is a transparent color, it's going to kind of brighten up the colors behind it. See that? Pure orange. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that's looking so far. Let's get just a little more brown, I think, in here. And we can darken inside these little teeth cutouts. There. All right, that looks really cool, I think. All right, so let's wipe off, and I'm gonna let that kind of set for a little bit. And while we're waiting on that, we can come and get our moon yellow. Oops, I want to clean that brush because that black and everything that was in there is dulling that yellow. So let's get some moon yellow to start, and we'll just kind of base in the eyes, nose, and mouth. All right, just to have a beginning color in there. All right, so this jack-o'-lantern's been carved, and he's got his candle inside, and he's casting a glow through his face openings. There. Okay. All right, now with that same brush, I'm going to come and get some pure orange on the corner. We're going to come along the inside. So kind of on the chisel, following the edge. Loosely. And I got a little carried away, so I'm going to wipe off some of that orange because I want this to kind of be yellow with an orange edge. All right. But it's very loose. I'm going to pick up more of that moon yellow. And we'll come right up here. So primarily what I'm focusing on is I'm getting like an orange edge with a brighter yellow inside. And we're going to brighten that yellow even more. It's kind of layering these colors in here. All right, now I'm going to pick up some of that red with that orange right there. I'm going to deepen that. So you work the red in with the pure orange, and it gets like a brighter orange, stronger. Okay. All right, so let's work on these up here. So I hope you can see what I'm doing is very the only word I've got for it is loose, right? So I'm not being perfect. And just kind of touching that color in there. Heavy color with my corner, putting in the yellow back in. Right, and then creating that really strong glow with even more and heavy moon yellow. Okay, now clean that off, and I'm going to come and get some daffodil here with the same brush, and we can come right in there, and that's going to brighten it up even more. So it's right in the middle. Right through there. And then grab a little bit of that sunflower. Right in there. So it's just really bringing up that glow. And we're using texture and dimension. Okay, so let's do a little more up here. In the eyes. And then grab some of that sunflower. There. Okay. All right, so now we just have a couple more things to do. I want to finish off our pumpkin with the stem. So this same 10 flat, I'm going to get burnt umber. I'm going to come and side stroke some yellow ochre. Okay. And we're going to come right in here with the burnt umber down, going into each of those segment grooves and then pulling out. Okay, so burnt umber. And then what we can do now is let's come out here, lift and push, and then pull to the chisel to get the tip. All right, same here. Lots of brown, a little bit of yellow ochre. And just have that go right off. Okay, and then we can come right back down here to the base of our stem and connect all that. And I want it real bumpy, so it's push and lift. Create that movement. All right. And then get some more of that yellow ochre. And you can just kind of lay that along the stem in a few places to give it some highlight. You can get a little bit of the licorice. And create some darker areas too. Okay. So that's kind of fun. All right, now our candles. Back with this 10 flat again. And these are going to be real simple. All right, so we're going to start with linen. Okay, and I'm going to side stroke a little bit of burnt umber. And we'll come right up here with the burnt umber to the left. Grab more linen. Keeping that burnt umber edge to the left. Come up underneath the wax strips here. A little more of that brown. And then get more of the linen. And this one goes behind. This one's in front. This one goes behind the pumpkin. Okay, now I need a little of wicker white. Here it is. Not a lot, but just some. All right, so wipe that brush off, and I'm just going to get linen, and then we're going to pick up white. All right. So first we're going to come right inside here, and then we're going to drip a little more of that white. We're going to drip the white down. So white's to the bottom edge, and you're going to make a little scoop at the bottom for the dripping wax. All right, so I don't want this dark edge here. There we go. So white's to the bottom, linen to the top, and you're just bringing that up. And then you can come right across here with that white. And you can come right through here. And along this edge here. So you're kind of dripping that down the candle. See there? All right, and then on this one, same thing. We're going to come around the back. And then let's get a little more of that white. Bring it down, loop, and come back. Okay. Now I want the inside of that candle to just be a hair darker. So let's side stroke a little bit of that burnt umber again. And we'll come right under here. There we go. Right. And same thing up here. Okay. Then we can take a little bit of that down the side. Come underneath the wax strips there too as well. Let's get a little more of that brown. All right, and you can just kind of strengthen the layers of dripping here. So this has kind of a extra skirt there, there, and out here. Okay. There. All right, now to finish these, we want to first put our wick in. So we need a script liner. Get that wet, and we're going to get some licorice with the water blended. Twist as you come out, and we're going to touch right in here and pull it down into the wax, right? And touch right here, pull it down, not past the front edge, just past the back edge. All right. Now we're going to let that dry for just a minute, and while we're doing that, we can come in and do any kind of little extra along the bottom of our pumpkin. This is inky licorice. Okay, so blend it with the water so you get a nice flow like ink off the bottom of your brush. And you can even come, let's come right along our face now. Got a little stray hair right there. Again, not being perfect with this, right? So a little abstract look to this design. Okay, and then we'll come up here, a little more water, and there. Get the nose. All right, so now just pull a few of these down from the top. And make sure that black is dry, which it is. Before I go there, I'm just going to get a little bit of linen, and I'm going to kind of sputter that up my stem here. Just in a few places. There. Okay, so let's get our 10 flat again. And we will load this first with Daffodil Yellow. And then I might come and just side stroke a little bit of pure orange on one edge. All right. And so you can come down here and then push and stand up to get the shape of that flame. Here, same thing. Push and stand up. All right, and then I'm going to get some white on the chisel edge. And I'm not going to push quite so hard. I'm going to go right in the middle. Right there, right there. Okay. So, oh, you know what I didn't do after I talked all about it was the clear. So the reflection of some of this hitting on the table, right? So all you really need to do is take little bits of pure orange or even some daffodil yellow, right? And kind of tap this on the table here in front of the pumpkin, right? Like it's casting a little reflection or a glow. I'm going to take a little bit of this sunflower here and kind of tap it into my wax. Put a little right there, a little right there, there. There. Just let it kind of sputter over the edge. There. Okay, guys. So I think, one thing I really want to do before I call this done is do a little shading. So I'm going to take that same brush. I loaded it with floating medium. We're going to side load some burnt umber. This candle is still not looking like I want it to. It's really all about the pumpkin, but I'm worrying about this candle. So I'm just going to shade along the side here. Maybe a little bit back here since it's behind the pumpkin. Right? That helped, I think. Yeah. Okay, that's better. Yeah, I think so. And then I think we can even put just a little bit more dark back here. Kind of medium and burnt umber. And we're slip slapping against the wall behind the candles. And the pumpkin. There. Darken right in there. And there. There. I like that better. All right. So I'm going to go ahead now and get my script liner. And let's get some inky Pueblo. Okay, and we will come right here in the corner. And sign that subtle like. There we go. All right, so there's our fun Halloween jack-o'-lantern. Loose, little abstract, a little different. And I hope you enjoyed that. So, hope you have a great Halloween, guys, if you celebrate. Just have a good time. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell so you get notified every time I come on. And I will be back next time with another fun project right here on Shelly Loves to Paint. See you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.